What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Water Cooler Quarterback, where we act like we know things about football. My name is Andrew, and I am super excited for today's video because this is the first of many Pick 'em videos for the 2023 season. Today, we're going to be going through the entire Week 1 slate of NFL games, picking a winner, and giving at least some amount of reason why I think that. And before we get started, I want to remind you all that there is still time to join the Pick 'em League. If you would like to compete against me and everybody else who has joined the league, go ahead and follow the link in the description. It is entirely free, and all you have to do is pick who you think is going to win each game each week. We'll be tallying up points and seeing who by the end of the season got the most games right. So if you think you know who's going to win each game, go ahead and follow the link in the description. Kicking it all off this Thursday is the Detroit Lions taking on the Super Bowl defending champs, the Kansas City Chiefs. The NFL deciding to start the season off with the Detroit Lions against the Chiefs just goes to show how much people believe in Detroit this year. And this is going to be a great litmus test for the Lions heading into the new season. Even if they lose this game, I think they can remain competitive throughout and give fans a lot of hope for the rest of the season. But if they beat the Chiefs, oh my God, the hype is going to be unreal, and there will be no more space on this Lions bandwagon. Now, at the time of recording, the Chiefs' defensive tackle Chris Jones is still holding out for a new contract, and supposedly he is okay with waiting until week 8 before rejoining the team if he doesn't get paid. So it looks like they're going to be without him to start the season. And while I do think that Jones's absence is going to significantly benefit the Lions, I mean, this is the Chiefs we're talking about. Mahomes and Kelce are going to waste no time getting back into the swing of things, and even though I think the Lions will look really good, I do have to give it to Kansas City. Hey folks, I recorded this video on Sunday, which means there is plenty of time for things to change with all of these games, and wouldn't you know it, we just got news that Travis Kelce has hyperextended his knee and may not be available for Thursday night's game. Ultimately, that does not change my pick. I still think that Mahomes can make that offense run without Kelce, and I do think the Chiefs are still going to win it. But that is going to make this game significantly harder for Kansas City. Now for the Sunday slate of games, we are kicking it off with a divisional matchup between the Cincinnati Bengals and Cleveland Browns. Earlier in the offseason, Joe Burrow did suffer a calf injury, but it looks like, barring any setbacks, he should be good to go for week 1. And for the Browns, I'm very eager to see what Deshaun Watson looks like. Is he the Deshaun Watson we remember from Houston, or is he still going to struggle like he did last year? Time will tell. I am going to pick the Bengals here. Even though Joe Burrow does have difficulty beating Cleveland, I think that the Bengals are just the better all-around team and are more ready for week 1. Then we've got the Houston Texans heading to Baltimore to take on the Ravens. Lamar Jackson is freshly paid, they've got new receiving threats, and they're playing against a team that earned the 2nd overall pick last year. So while any given Sunday is a real thing, I think you can tell which way I'm leaning. CJ Stroud is going into his very first start as an NFL quarterback and is going up against a Baltimore defense that should be really good. So I am going to be going with the Ravens on this one. Now, Baker Mayfield and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are headed up north to take on the Minnesota Vikings. The Bucs defense should be good again this year, but going up against someone like Justin Jefferson is always a difficult task. That said, Minnesota is without Dalvin Cook this year, and the Buccaneers historically have had a pretty good run defense, so I'm eager to see what kind of contribution Alexander Mattison can have. So all in all, I'm going to give this game to the Minnesota Vikings, but I do think it's going to be closer than folks think. Now, the Carolina Panthers taking on the Atlanta Falcons is a matchup that I don't really know what to do with. This game could go either way because these are two teams that we know very little about. The Panthers defense could step up and keep Desmond Ridder really quiet, or the Falcons defense could do the same to rookie Bryce Young. So I will give the edge to Atlanta here because they are playing at home, and I do think that they have some better skill position players. And at the end of the day, this is Bryce Young's very first real start. Now we come to my Cardinals heading to the nation's capital to take on the Washington Commanders. And look, the Cardinals season is not going to be great. We all know that. However, I do think this is one of the games that they could win. But I do think that the Commanders can outperform people's expectations this year, and I think they're going to be better than they're given credit for. We currently don't know if Scary Terry is going to be able to play for Washington as he deals with a toe injury, but I think even without him, the Commanders are able to take this one. The Cardinals are seemingly punting this season into the sun as they sell off pieces like Isaiah Simmons, so I just don't know how competitive they're going to be. Next up, we have got the Jacksonville Jaguars taking on the Indianapolis Colts. The Colts are without star running back Jonathan Taylor for at least the first 4 weeks of the season, and given that he is basically their only offensive weapon, I am very concerned about them. Anthony Richardson should be really good and can be a dynamic threat with his legs, but I'm just not sure if the Colts offense is going to be able to function without their main piece. Trevor Lawrence, of course, is going into year 2 of having Doug Peterson as his head coach, adding in a wide receiver like Calvin Ridley, and of course, they've got Tank Bigsby. So I do think the Jaguars take this one. Now, we've also got the San Francisco 49ers taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers. This is a game that I think really could be an upset. I know a lot of people are on the 49ers train and think they are one of the best teams in the NFC, myself included. However, I'm also very high on the Pittsburgh Steelers heading into the season. I think Kenny Pickett and George Pickens take big steps heading into year 2. I think Najee Harris can do better than he did last year, and that defense should be really great with a healthy TJ Watt back. Meanwhile, the 49ers are, at least at the time of recording this, still missing Nick Bosa, the reigning defending defensive player of the year last year. That defense should still be good even without Bosa, but that is a huge blow. It cannot be overstated the effect that Bosa has when he's on the field. So if the Niners go into week 1 without him, I'm a little worried about him. It currently looks like over 80% of people have picked the Niners for this game, but I'm going to go in the opposite direction and say that the Pittsburgh Steelers get the upset. Then we move on to the Tennessee Titans taking on the New Orleans Saints. Of course, last year, the Tennessee Titans had one of the weirdest defenses with the absolute worst passing defense and absolute best rushing defense. So if that keeps up, I do think the Saints will have a pretty easy time passing on them with guys like Olave and Michael Thomas, but may have a difficult time establishing the run, especially with Alvin Kamara currently serving a 3-game suspension. But, of course, on the other side, there is Tennessee's super weapon in Derrick Henry, who just dominates no matter what defense he goes up against. So all in all, this is a tough game to predict. But I'm just kind of out on the Titans this year until they give me a reason to think otherwise. So I do think that Derek Carr manages to get his first W as a Saint. Next up, we have got the Las Vegas Raiders heading to Mile High to take on the Denver Broncos. Now, the Broncos have not beat the Raiders since 2019, but I do think that changes in week 1. I do still believe that Russell Wilson can be a really good quarterback. The Denver defense should remain elite, and I think that Sean Payton's effect on that team from the head coaching spot is really important here. And while the Raiders do still have Devontae Adams and Josh Jacobs is back in the backfield after getting paid, I'm just not sure if Jimmy G is the guy to lead this team in the future. So if all goes according to my prediction, congratulations, Denver, your losing streak to the Raiders is over. Now we've got the Philadelphia Eagles heading up to Foxborough to take on the Patriots. And I'm going to keep this one very simple. The Eagles are better than the Patriots at just about every single position. I think that the Eagles' defense is going to be a nightmare for Mac Jones, even with an offensive coordinator. And I do not see the New England Patriots overtaking the Super Bowl runner-up. So in case that wasn't clear enough for you, the Eagles are going to win. Now we move on to the LA Rams going up to Seattle to face the Seahawks. And way back when I started this channel, I did say that I think the Rams can be better than people expect this year. However, that was based on 3 guys staying healthy: Matthew Stafford, Cooper Kupp, and Aaron Donald. And as we have seen in the last couple of days, Cooper Kupp has had to head out of state to see a specialist about a hamstring issue. If they are starting the season already with an injured Cooper Kupp, I don't see how they can keep up with the Seahawks. Seattle's defense looks like it's going to be even better than it was last year. Their offense should maintain their steady pace, and I think they have a relatively easy W, especially at home here in week 1. Now this game here, The Miami Dolphins at the LA Chargers might just be my game of the week. Of course, these two quarterbacks were taken one after the other in their respective draft, and from all that I can tell, this is going to be one heck of a shootout. Tua should be connecting with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle all game long, and Justin Herbert should be doing the same with Keenan Allen and Mike Williams, and maybe even Quentin Johnston steps up. Two insane offenses going at it is going to make for one of the most exciting games of this weekend slate. And I'm going to have to give the slight edge to LA here, as they are playing at home and do have a better running game with Austin Eckler. So I do love you, Miami, but I think you fall to 0-1 and the Chargers take it. Now, if the last game was the game of the week from a gameplay perspective, this might be game of the week from the storyline perspective. Yes, the self-proclaimed owner of the Bears is no longer a Packer. But did Jordan Love inherit that ownership from Aaron Rodgers? We'll have to wait and see. I mean, this game is just chock full of storylines. How is Jordan Love going to look as the Week 1 starter for the Packers? Can DJ Moore really help Justin Fields improve? And could this be the next generation of the league's most storied rivalry? I absolutely cannot wait for this game, and I am of the thinking that the Bears are simply not going to let the Packers keep beating them, especially at home. So I do have the Bears winning this one, but it is going to be a dogfight. It is going to be really, really close. Then we have got the luxury of two primetime division games to end Week 1. First off, with Sunday Night Football, we have the Dallas Cowboys heading up to New York to take on the Giants. The Giants made the playoffs last year, and by all accounts are even better than they were. Daniel Jones should be connecting with Darren Waller early and often. Saquon should be running all over the place, and I think Dexter Lawrence is going to have Dak in his sights all game long. But Dallas is good, and I mean real good. That offense with CeeDee Lamb, Brandon Cooks, Tony Pollard, all being helmed by Dak Prescott, I think should be able to score a lot of points. And that defense with Trayvon Diggs and Micah Parsons, this is going to be one heck of a game. I'm going to go ahead and say the Cowboys are able to get it done on the road. It is going to be one hostile atmosphere for them, but I think they can handle it. And finally, on Monday Night Football, we get to see the guy we've all been waiting for. Trading in the green and yellow for green and white, Aaron Rodgers makes his regular season debut as a New York Jet. And he's doing so at home in front of the New York crowd against none other than the Buffalo Bills. What a game to end the week. I don't think I even need to go over how good both of these teams are. I think this game has the makings of an instant classic. But at the end of the day, even though I've got the Jets winning the division, it is Week 1, and Aaron Rodgers is on a new team, and I think there could be some growing pains there. Buffalo has been preparing all offseason for Aaron Rodgers, and they are already a cohesive team, and I think Aaron could struggle out the gate a little bit. So to end out the week, I am picking the Buffalo Bills to take over Monday Night Football. Well, that's it. That's all the games for Week 1. I am so excited for the season to get started, and if you think any of my picks are absolutely insane, which you probably do, go ahead and head to the description of this video, follow the link, and join the Pick 'em League. As I said, it is absolutely free, and I can't wait to see all of you join and compete against you all season. Football is just about to get started, so let's have some fun. Until next time, my name is Andrew, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye.